In the final moments before death, most warriors see their mistake. Miyamoto Musashi saw his victory 3 hours before the fight even began. There's a war happening right now, and you're losing it. Not with bullets or bombs, but with words, glances, and split-second decisions. Every conversation is a battlefield where minds clash in ways most people never recognize. 400 years ago, in the mist-covered mountains of feudal Japan, one man discovered the secret to winning this invisible war. His name echoes through history, not because he was the strongest, but because he understood something profound. Reality is not what you see, it's what you perceive, and perception can be engineered. Miyamoto Musashi walked through a world where deception meant death, where reading intentions incorrectly could end your bloodline forever. Yet, in over 60 life-or-death encounters, he was never once deceived, never caught off guard, never outsmarted. But here's what makes his story truly extraordinary. He didn't achieve this mastery through superior strength or faster reflexes. He achieved it by discovering the invisible architecture of the human mind, the hidden patterns that govern how we think, decide, and reveal our deepest intentions without even knowing it. Today, we're going to walk in his footsteps and discover why the greatest battles are won before they're ever fought. Picture the morning of the 13th of April, 1612. The island of Ganryu sits wrapped in fog, its shores barely visible through the gray dawn. On this beach waits Sasaki Kojiro, known throughout Japan as the Swallow Cut, a man whose blade moves faster than the eye can follow. He arrived at sunrise as honor demanded. His sword gleams in the pale light, 3 feet of perfect steel forged by masters. He stands ready, every muscle coiled like a spring, mind sharp as the edge he carries. Hours pass, the sun climbs, the fog lifts, still no Musashi. But here's what's really happening. While Kojiro stands on that beach growing frustrated, impatient, angry, his mind is being sculpted. Each passing minute carves away his composure, his confidence, his center. By the time Musashi finally appears, the duel is already won. This is the first principle of the invisible war. Time is not neutral, it's a weapon, and the person who controls its flow controls everything else. Consider how this applies to your world. That colleague who always responds to your emails exactly 24 hours later, they're controlling time to establish psychological dominance. The salesperson who creates artificial deadlines, they're weaponizing your relationship with urgency. The person who consistently arrives exactly 15 minutes late to meetings, they're training everyone else to wait, to accommodate, to revolve around their schedule. When Musashi steps from his boat 3 hours late, he carries no steel sword. Instead, he holds a piece of roughly carved wood, an oar hastily shaped during his journey. Kojiro laughs. The spectators murmur in confusion. But Musashi understands something they don't. The deadliest weapon isn't the sharpest blade, it's the disruption of expectation. In his final work, The Book of 5 Rings, Musashi wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one reality. What people believe to be real and what is actually happening are often completely different things." This isn't ancient wisdom, it's the key to navigating modern deception. Every day, people present you with carefully constructed versions of reality. The colleague who smiles while sabotaging your project, the salesperson who creates urgency where none exists, the politician who offers solutions to problems they helped create. They succeed because most people see only the surface story. Musashi trained himself to see the layers beneath, what he called the true form hiding behind the apparent form. Here's how it works in practice. You walk into a business meeting.
Everyone's being friendly, professional, collaborative, but Musashi's eye would notice the micro-tensions. Who sits where? Who speaks first? Whose ideas get acknowledged? Whose get ignored? He'd observe the meeting behind the meeting, the one happening in glances, in timing, in what remains unsaid. He would notice that when Sarah from marketing speaks, everyone looks down at their phones. When the CFO mentions budget concerns, the CEO's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. When someone suggests a timeline, 3 people simultaneously check their calendars, but 2 of them aren't actually looking at dates, they're buying time to think. This skill isn't mystical, it's simply learning to observe without projecting your own assumptions onto what you see. Most people watch the world through the filter of their own hopes, fears, and preconceptions. They see what they expect to see, or what they're afraid to see, but rarely what's actually there. Musashi called this polishing the mirror of perception, gradually removing all the dust and distortion until reality reflects clearly. There's a story about Musashi that most people misunderstand. During one of his duels, his opponent kept waiting for him to assume a fighting stance, but Musashi just stood there, completely relaxed, almost casual. His opponent grew increasingly agitated, switching between different guards, trying to provoke a reaction. Finally, frustrated beyond reason, he attacked with a desperate lunge. Musashi stepped aside and ended the duel with a single strike. People call this luck or superior reflexes, but it was something far more sophisticated. Musashi had learned to become psychologically invisible. When your mind is completely calm, completely present, you give off no signals for others to read, no tension to exploit, no emotions to manipulate, no patterns to predict. You become like water, shapeless until the moment you need to take form. This state of psychological invisibility is perhaps the most powerful defense against deception. When someone tries to manipulate you, they're looking for something to grab onto: your fears, desires, insecurities, ego. But if your mind is like still water, there's nothing for their tactics to stick to. Think about the last time someone really got under your skin. Maybe they criticized your work in a meeting or questioned your judgment in front of others. What happened in your body? Your breathing probably changed, your shoulders tensed, your voice might have risen slightly, your face may have flushed. All of these are signals, information that the other person can use to adjust their approach, to push deeper into whatever wound they've discovered. But imagine responding from that state of inner stillness. Your breathing remains steady, your voice stays calm, your posture doesn't shift. You listen completely, process what's being said without defensiveness, and respond from a place of genuine curiosity rather than reactive emotion. This isn't suppression or denial. It's what Musashi called the mind that doesn't stick. Awareness that doesn't get caught in the drama, doesn't take the bait, doesn't dance to someone else's rhythm. A neuroscientist who studied decision-making under pressure explains it this way. When we're emotionally reactive, our prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking, literally goes offline. We become predictable, manipulable. But individuals who maintain psychological equilibrium under stress show consistent activity in areas associated with strategic thinking and pattern recognition. Research from a behavioral economics professor at MIT reveals something fascinating. The most successful negotiators aren't those who argue the hardest, but those who remain most psychologically neutral while gathering information about their opponent's true motivations. They win not through force, but through superior information processing. An ex-FBI interrogator with 20 years of experience adds this insight. The people we could never break weren't the toughest or most stubborn. They were the ones who seemed genuinely curious about our questions rather than threatened by them. They turned every interaction into a learning opportunity rather than a battle to be won. But here's what modern science is just beginning to understand. Musashi figured this out centuries ago through pure observation and brutal practice. Musashi discovered that emptiness isn't absence, it's potential. When your mind becomes truly quiet, truly present, something remarkable happens. You begin to see people's intentions before they do. Most human behavior follows predictable patterns.
People telegraph their moves through changes in breathing, subtle shifts in posture, variations in speech rhythm. But you can only perceive these signals when your own mental noise stops drowning them out. This is why Musashi spent years practicing what he called no mind, not thinking about technique during combat, not planning his next move, just being completely present to what is. In this state, appropriate action arises spontaneously, perfectly suited to each unique moment. In your daily life, this translates into something profound, the ability to respond rather than react. When your boss criticizes you unfairly, instead of defending immediately, you pause, you observe. You see their stress, their pressure, their own fears playing out. Your response comes not from ego or emotion, but from clarity. But strategic emptiness goes deeper than just remaining calm. It's about creating space, psychological space, where truth can emerge naturally. When you're not pushing your agenda, not defending your position, not trying to prove anything, people often reveal far more than they intended. Musashi understood that most people are uncomfortable with silence, with space, with not knowing what you're thinking. They'll rush to fill that vacuum with information, with explanations, with justifications you never asked for. This is why the most skilled therapists, investigators, and negotiators often say very little. They create a container of attentive presence, and people pour themselves into it. Every person carries an invisible script, a story they tell themselves about who they are, what they deserve, what they fear. Master manipulators know how to read these scripts and play into them, but Musashi went deeper. He learned to see not just what people believed about themselves, but what they were desperately trying to hide, even from themselves. The businessman who talks constantly about success, but can't make eye contact when discussing numbers. The friend who insists they're fine, but whose laughter sounds forced. The partner who says they trust you, but checks your phone when you're not looking. These contradictions aren't character flaws, they're information. They tell you where someone's authentic self conflicts with their projected self. And in that gap, you find both their vulnerability and their true intentions. Musashi called this seeing the enemy's spirit, understanding not just what someone is doing, but why they're doing it, what they hope to achieve, and what they're afraid will happen if they fail. Here's a practical example. You're in a salary negotiation. Your manager says the budget is tight this year, that everyone needs to be patient, that raises aren't possible right now. But you notice their new watch, their recent vacation photos on their desk, the expensive coffee they're drinking. The surface story is about budget constraints, but the deeper pattern might be about priorities, what the company chooses to spend money on versus what they claim they can't afford. Or it might be about your manager's own insecurity about their authority, their need to control the narrative, their fear that saying yes to you might set a precedent they can't handle. When you can see these deeper patterns, your entire approach changes. Instead of arguing with the surface story, you address the underlying concerns. Instead of pushing against resistance, you find the path of least resistance that still gets you where you want to go. There's a moment in every interaction, a microsecond between stimulus and response, where everything hangs in balance. Most people rush through this moment, reacting automatically based on conditioning, emotion, or habit. But Musashi learned to inhabit this space, to expand it, to make decisions from this place of perfect balance. He called it the void between breaths, that moment of absolute stillness before action arises. In combat, this meant the difference between reactive flailing and precise, devastating effectiveness. In daily life, it means the difference between being manipulated and maintaining your center. This space exists in every conversation. Someone says something that triggers you, and there's a moment, however brief, where you can choose your response.
Most people don't even notice this moment exists. They go straight from trigger to reaction, like a ball bouncing off a wall. But when you learn to recognize and inhabit this space, you gain access to a completely different range of possibilities. Instead of defending, you might ask a question that reveals more about the other person's motivations. Instead of attacking, you might find common ground that diffuses the entire conflict. Instead of withdrawing, you might lean in with genuine curiosity about what's really happening. This is what Musashi meant when he wrote about winning without fighting, not avoiding conflict, but resolving it at a level so fundamental that external struggle becomes unnecessary. But here's what will change everything for you. Musashi's greatest insight wasn't about reading other people, it was about reading himself so clearly that external deception became impossible. Think about it. Every time you've been fooled, manipulated, or taken advantage of, part of you knew something was wrong. Your intuition sent signals, your body felt tension, your mind registered inconsistencies, but you overrode those signals because seeing clearly would have been uncomfortable, inconvenient, or would have required difficult decisions. Musashi realized that the person trying to deceive you isn't your real enemy. Your real enemy is the part of your own mind that collaborates with deception because truth requires change, and change requires courage. Every day you have countless opportunities to practice this inner combat. When someone tells you what you want to hear, do you accept it immediately or examine it critically? When you feel that subtle wrongness in your gut during a conversation, do you ignore it or investigate it? When your first instinct says one thing, but your rational mind says another, which do you trust? Most people abandon their inner knowing the moment it becomes inconvenient. The job offer that seems too good to be true, but you want it badly enough that you ignore the red flags. The relationship where the words are right, but something feels off, but you're tired of being alone, so you convince yourself everything's fine. The investment opportunity that promises impossible returns, but you want to believe in shortcuts, so you suppress your skepticism. Musashi's way isn't about becoming suspicious or paranoid. It's about becoming so honest with yourself, so clear in your perceptions, so comfortable with uncertainty, that external manipulation finds no purchase in your mind. This requires what he called the courage to see, the willingness to look directly at reality, even when it's not what you hoped for, even when it requires you to make changes you'd rather avoid, even when it means acknowledging mistakes you'd rather deny. The most sophisticated insight Musashi gained wasn't about defeating external enemies. It was recognizing that external deception is only possible because of internal deception. You can only be fooled about others to the extent that you're willing to fool yourself. If you're honest about your own motivations, you'll recognize mixed motives in others. If you acknowledge your own capacity for self-serving rationalization, you'll spot it immediately when someone else does it.
If you're familiar with your own patterns of avoidance and denial, you'll see through others' smokescreens. This is why Musashi spent as much time studying his own mind as he did studying combat techniques. He mapped his own psychological territory so thoroughly that he could instantly recognize when someone was trying to exploit terrain they assumed was unknown to him. Think about your last major mistake in judgment about someone. Chances are the information you needed to make a better decision was available, but you didn't want to see it. Maybe acknowledging their true character would have meant ending a relationship you valued. Maybe accepting the reality of the situation would have meant admitting you'd been wrong for months or years. The path to never being fooled isn't about becoming more suspicious of others. It's about becoming more honest with yourself. When you stop lying to yourself, other people's lies become transparent. On that misty morning at Ganryu Island, when Musashi stepped from his boat carrying a wooden sword, he wasn't just facing Sasaki Kojiro. He was demonstrating something timeless. The greatest strength isn't in your weapons or your techniques. It's in your willingness to see reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it were or fear it might be. That same morning is happening for you right now. Every moment offers you the choice between clarity and confusion, between wisdom and wishful thinking, between presence and distraction. The sword Musashi really mastered wasn't made of steel or wood. It was forged from pure awareness, the kind that cuts through illusions so cleanly that truth reveals itself naturally, without effort or struggle. This awareness lives within you already. It's been waiting patiently while you've been learning to listen to everything else: your fears, your desires, your conditioning, your assumptions. But now you know. The way to never be fooled isn't to outsmart everyone else. It's to become so present, so honest, so fearlessly attentive that deception simply cannot survive in your presence. In the end, Musashi's greatest teaching isn't about combat or strategy. It's about coming home to your own deepest intelligence, the part of you that has always known the difference between what's real and what's just a story. That intelligence is your true sword, and unlike steel, it never grows dull. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to polish it brighter, to make it sharper, to wield it with greater precision and wisdom. The war for your mind is happening right now. The question isn't whether you'll fight, the question is whether you'll win.